All right. Hello, Jodie here again with another Affiliate Triad member spotlight. It's actually not really a member spotlight. I think this is just going to be a chat between me and my new friend, Stephen. I'm not exactly sure where he comes from. There might be something on his video screen that's telling me that. So hello, Stephen. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad that you thought I was worth interviewing. So let me ask you this. Where are you from? You were implying where I'm from. Where are you from?
I'm from Australia.
Yeah, you don't sound like you from around here, Jody. And so I was
But I'm
curious.
currently in Mexico.
Yeah, and you don't sound Mexican either. Or do I? No, where do I sound like I'm from? If you want to be so bold as to venture a guess.
You've got a southern accent, but I don't know which state.
You know, it's funny, everywhere I've ever been, and I've traveled the world several times, according to my Delta miles, and if you look at the circumference of the earth, I've flown around the world like 20 times. I say that, and I don't mean literally, I mean in spells, you know, back and forth, New York, Chicago, Saudi Arabia, and South America and other places. But having traveled around the world, it is, I get attention. Like, I always said this, if you go to New York City, it's a melting pot. There's every accent, race, creed, nationality. They don't have time to stop 20 million people go, wait a minute, you got a funny accent, where are you from? But a Southern accent is going to get attention in New York. It's the only one. It's a poll. They go, where are you from? And so I got a joke, no matter where I am, I say I'm from the Southern part of there because it's a Southern accent. So I started that in Detroit, and they say, where are you from? And I Philly. I was in Philadelphia, and they said, where are you from? I said, from Philadelphia. No, you're not. And I said, I'm from South Philly, and then South Detroit and South Bronx. And when I was up in Northern Canada, you can write to Canada. I was in Calgary, and they said, where are you from? At South. No kidding. And where? Edmonton. No, I got that backwards. I was in Edmonton and said I was from Calgary, which is a long way south, but not that far south. So anyway, so I tell people I don't talk funny. You just hear funny because this is normal to me.
Well, I had somebody say to me the other day on a video, it was like on a live that I did, oh, I love your accent. And I'm like, I don't have an accent.
You got an accent. Yeah, you hear from what kind of accent are you talking about? But I can't pull that off because everybody just, at some level knows, I know that maybe I don't sound like I'm from New Jersey. I'm not. I've been a lot of places.
I could test you out on your Aussie accent later on, but I wanted to get into a couple of questions for you because we have seen quite a bit of your humor. The most recent one for me was definitely Wilson teasing us yet again that we have something coming. There was a few comments that came in. I think one of the best ones was like, this is how I'm going to get through quarantine is one tease at a time, thanks to Wilson. But yours with the WTF, I mean, I love WTF.
He reminds me of a girl I dated in high school at this point. I mean, I don't want to get that personal with the group, but I'm just saying I'm having flashbacks. But yeah, and so he was teasing us again, and okay, all right. So I came up with WTF, which most people know, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot and then because I got a comedic mind, it's what I do. I came up with YT's friends, and evidently I got some attention, and then. Just so you know, what did I say after that? Oh, I was blaming him for an outbreak of TFS, which is tease fatigue syndrome. I mean, I'm getting tease fatigue. I'm just, you know how we get banner blindness and we get ad blindness after a while, ads just don't work anymore. That's kind of where I'm at with the tease. Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be life-changing, whatever. I'll believe it when I see it. Show me the money. I'll be like, what was that, Jerry Maguire? Yeah.
The other side of it is the bar. I mean, I didn't think it was possible to have a bar set any higher than what we had out of the first month. So they've got a real challenge on their hand.
Yeah, well, right. After a while, they're going to get tease fatigue. It's not just going to be us. It's going to be like, look, we're working on some stuff, but you probably won't like it. They'll start downselling it. You won't like it. It'll be horrible. It'll be miserable. It'll be like a mayonnaise sandwich. You're probably all going to quit. And we're going to be homeless and penniless. Like, no, we'll know. It'll be reversed. No. You're fine. We love you. Here's the routing number to my bank. Just take all you want. I'm like, yeah.
You know what? On a copywriting standpoint, that's called a takeaway. We've just done an actual takeaway.
I've studied all this. I'm just not as good at it as Jason. Like I said, Jason, I got a challenge for Jason. I believe I could be a rapping monk. I believe I can be anything I want to. I challenge him to have his backdrop as cool as me with a fading shirt. It's a green screen and a blue shirt. I Zoom Anyway, so I don't know that he could be as clever as I am at the comedy, but I've been doing comedy my whole life. But I'm also a sales and marketer. I've got a theory. You didn't ask me for this. You're thinking, so what's funny is Jodie does interviews, y'all that don't know. And jokingly at the beginning, with Jodie and I, before we hit record, got to know each other, but y'all missed some of the joy of that. So I literally asked Jodie, I'm going to ask her right now, Jodie, are you doing this because you work for Rapid Crush? And your answer is?
Nope.
No.
I just love doing interviews.
You know why she can't? Because I realized everybody that works for Rapid Crush, their name ends in son. Will's son, Jay's son. You'd have to change your name to Jodie's son, and then that would be bizarre. Yeah, Jodie's son. Jodie's son. Yeah, and nobody promised that this would be anywhere close to politically correct. Again, and what's cool is Jodie don't work for Rapid Crush, and I don't work for Rapid Crush, so buyer beware. You know, we didn't say we wouldn't offend you, and if that offends you, then you might need to get your head checked. So so Jodie's thinking maybe some of the people she interviewed, she had to have some questions. It's with me, she's got to have questions to stop me, not to get me started. But I said this before and I'll say it again. I'm just getting to know y'all. And Jodie, once I get open up, I'll come out of my shell. And your response to that is?
I can't even see that there would be a shell there to get out of.
If this is in a shell, how about we keep you in there? Because I don't want you breaking out and killing nobody.
All right, no, but let's seriously look at something here.
Sure.
First promotion, a lot of people, I actually asked Wilson for a percentage, but a lot of people made sales and a lot of people didn't. Some of them have left and many of them have stayed. How do you suggest people deal with disappointment of not getting that first sale as Jason had really, really hoped that we would all get?
So lest I'm not a one-trick pony. I've joked my whole life about being a one-trick pony. And if you are, you got to know your one trick. But obviously, I'm a fan of, and I'm going to answer your question, but I'm a storyteller, so I'm going to teach through stories. It's what I do. So not only am I an entertainer, and I'm an educator, I'm a motivator, I'm a speaker, and I have studied success, and I'm glad you asked. But I'll tell you this, and look, you can't find brighter minds than Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi, and they're right now relaunching the KBB program, which is Knowledge Broker Business. Think about that. You're a broker of knowledge. You're a curator of knowledge. There's no really original thought. There's just a creative way to tell the same stories. Again, I want Hollywood to keep making movies, but they're the same three stories over and over and over again. So I'm just going to give you the wisdom that I stole from people that are far wiser than me. And Warren Buffett, possibly have heard him, one of the wealthiest men that ever lived, arguably the greatest investor of our time, said the number one way to be content is to have more realistic expectations. Now here's from a wealthy man, not a homeless guy in the street who's had to lower his expectations for where he might get his next meal. So what were everybody's expectations? You and I talked about this off script earlier. I'm not saying this because I get any compensation above and beyond what everybody else does. This is my unbiased, well, everybody's biased, so that's a lie right out of the gate, but uncompensated, how about that, opinion, other than what I can go earn for myself given the same opportunity. These are the most over-delivering human beings I've ever seen. If you didn't stay in this, I feel for you. Where will you land that this something will work for you? Because I found another wise phrase: no matter where you go, there you are, and you're at the scene of every crime in your life. As you look back at your parents didn't treat you right, and a boss didn't treat you right, and somebody, you know who's at the scene of every crime in your life? Look at the tape of your life. You're in every scene. It's you. It might be you. My daddy coached me all through Little League and high school sports. I'm not good looking. I'm not real athletic, but I try real hard. So I played sports really, really hard. It was really important to me. And I had a friend of mine, and Daddy was the same age as me. So Daddy had coached him every year he coached me. I mean, he's about the only coach. And different assistant coaches came and went, but my dad was the consistent theme. And this guy was a pain in the butt, to put it mildly, my friend. It was my age. And he said in this gravelly, whiny voice he had, I ain't never had a coach I liked. And my daddy looked at him and said, John, it might be time to consider it's you. So, and I'm not talking about anybody because they left, so they're not even going to hear this. But I ask you this, if you're considering leaving, where else you going to go and throw in $299 and have access to what these cats deliver? Because I'm in a bunch of other groups. I mean, literally, I'm on a break from an all-day training that I paid for. It's what I do, but I make money too. Let me tell you something. But I have an affinity for Jason and Will that maybe everybody that left didn't. And I'll tell you why. because I'm one of those turkeys that didn't know about them when I bought ASM the first time. If you don't know what ASM is, look it up. Amazing Selling Machine. I did not know about them, but I'm the kind of guy that wants to find the 80-20 of the 80-20 of the 80-20, which if you do the math is the 1% that's doing 50% of the sales. If 20% are doing 80 and you do it again, then 4% are doing 64, but 1% are doing 50. And so what I did when I went to ASM is I paid 4 figures to be there. But if you run to the back of the room and pay 5 figures, you get in their inner circle. And 75 of us went to Aruba. And as I talked to those people who could afford to go there, who were doing 6 figures a month, and I had yet to sell anything, but I was on the fast track, I found out most of them had a common denominator, and which was they were in rapid crush. And I didn't know what that was. So Jason and Will, being men of their word, they said, folks bigger fish than you have begged us to sell us our bonuses without buying ASM again. You will buy ASM again, as stupid as that makes you feel, because that's how we roll. And I bought it again. I bought a program I already owned again because I wanted to be in that. But guess what it did? I paid 4 figures to get in it again, and then ran to the back of the room and paid to get into that inner circle, which was the 80-20 of the 80-20 of the 80-20. And once I kind of out of my shell, I'll get more animated and tell you how I really feel. But so now I'm in and I went to Cabo. You've heard about the famous Cabo trips, and that's where they saw me dance and think I'm an idiot, and they're right. But they have meant so much to me. So what I'm trying to tell you is I gave Jason and Will 4 figures, and then I turned around and gave them 5 figures, but they made me 6 and then 7. Now I had to implement it. They didn't come hand it to me. They didn't wire money into my account. I did it. And then I've stood on stages with Ben Cummins and Triad, which is pretty amazing because Jason discovered Ben and Ben discovered Triad. If you don't know who that is, Google it, look it up. Ain't nobody got time for this. This ain't like a documentary, okay? And this is me answering your question. Then they've made me a ton of money, and I've stood on stage and given my ideas. And it's like, wow, where'd this guy come from? I came from a peanut farm. That's where I came from. So I can't tell you how much Jason and Will mean to me, right? Well, no, I think it just did. So I've always wanted to do affiliate marketing, and I would take my little tired friends on Facebook and in my email list and go, hey, check this out. And evidently they're the friends from my past, not of who I've become in my future, right? So everybody that don't have a list, and that's what I ask people. So I'm in a bunch of other groups to bring this back full circle. Yeah. And they all want to save the world. And I asked them, if I gave you the perfect offer, I didn't even make the offer. I just asked them if I gave you the perfect offer, because none of them have a program, right? They're all just tire kickers. Wish they could be somebody when they grow up. And I said, if I gave you the perfect offer, gave it to you, could you present a lead magnet to a list of people, get them to opt in, and then make that offer to them? And they said, no. I said, you don't have a business, and you're never going to have a business. I had Karcher for years. I got ClickFunnels. I got Karcher. I had Infusionsoft. I had lead pages, and nobody was making me pick one. Will and Jason made me pick one and double down and learn more about it. They forced me to learn something I was already paying for, and to get it for me cheaper. And now I love Karcher, except for support made me mad the other day. So what would I say to people? So if you don't have a list and you didn't make any sales, how are you going to change that? Literally,
well, that's actually my next question.
And change that reality.
Yeah, so that the whole point of that is so many new members, as Jason said, when you say, I don't have a list, he says ... yet. So many members were actually saying, my friends wouldn't be, like, my family wouldn't be interested. I don't have any friends. I don't have an audience. I don't have a list. I'm not involved in any groups on Facebook. It's kind of like, well, what do you want to do about that? Like,
then are you just here for the love of the video content? We could put this on YouTube and it would save you $2.99 a month. I mean, I just don't know what people want. But then I recognize that there's different types. So for example, we're not supposed to solicit. I'm not in there trying to generate business, but I am in there trying to help people. And there are people know who I've reached out to, but they won't know all that I've reached out to. So they can either take it personal or not. But I'm not going to name any names. But somebody would say, hey, seems like you know what you're doing. Can you help me out? And we cut a side message, and I tell them, well, this is what I did, and this is what you could do. And they'll help me with this. Well, that would probably work for you. That's good for you. But me, I'm in a different situation. Well, then you might as well. The cattle are out. The fence is down. The cow. I mean, you to use a farming analogy, they're gone. You're done. You're already done. You've already accepted defeat. You've already got this story. Well, that would work for another. You know, I'm too tall, I'm too short, I'm too white, I'm too black, I'm too something. No, you're just too I don't know. You're just too decided. You're afraid of failure or you're afraid of success. And I'm not going to get into daddy issues here, but I literally was started with trying to get a guy that was a friend, played Little League, had the same daddy. My daddy coached him through Little League and high school sports. So he has an affinity for me and my family and the memories we have. And I've led him down some other primrose paths to purchase into some programs, but he's still working for the man. He has a good job, but a good job. He intended to buy a TWF, but he was working for his boss until midnight and fell asleep and woke up at 5 a.m. Why did he wait to the last minute? He wasn't going to buy anyway. Hey, I don't care about the lies he tells me. The biggest lies you tell are the ones you tell yourself. Was he going to do it? And was he going to change his life? Whatever. Anyway, when we got to talking about business, next thing you know, we're talking about how much he hates his life. And now I'm a life coach. So what you'll find is what's holding people back ain't the opportunity in front of them. We had to go back to I knew his daddy, he knew my daddy. I had to tell him things. I've paid coaches 5 and some of them 6 figures to figure out what my daddy issues were. And my daddy was an alcoholic and he didn't hit me as much as he should have. I'm being honest. I'm not telling you how to discipline your children. I'm not making that statement, but he should have hit me more than he did. And he was an aggressive beast of a man. He should have hit me more because I was a pain in the butt. But I look back at things that he decided about life, his rules for living, that were imposed on him by his father, who I never met because he died when my dad was young, had impacted my worldview. A grandfather I never knew impacted how I kept money that I made. And not to get into my daddy issues, but just so maybe you can draw parallels. A man who defined himself by hard work, but who said if you had too much money, you probably got it dishonestly. I'm still trying to please a dad who's been dead 8 years. So I'll work really hard, but I don't keep a whole lot. I have a build and burn cycle. If that's you, it ain't Will and Jason that caused that problem. It ain't ASM and it ain't TWF and it ain't the next umpteen different initials we'll come up with. It's either AT or TWF or WTF or, and so obviously I'm not helping the people that left, right? They're gone. But if there's somebody on the fence, maybe I talked them out of it. And maybe that was the best thing for you. Maybe you got to go. But you got to be all in or all out. You can't have one foot in this one and see how it goes. Because believe it or not, I got a bunch of lists, but none of them are right for this. So you know what I did? I went and borrowed somebody else's list. And you say, oh, your party and had to give up half your commission. No, because I have been in this game a while. I have done so many people so many favors. I literally had people said, I'll email my list for you. And I don't want anything in return. I just want to help out. Now, they want reciprocity. They're not stupid. And I've already sent them business. It's already reciprocated. So where there's a will, there's a way. And pun intended, where there's a will, there's a way. I just made that up. I like the fact that my shirt keeps going in and out. And I'm just going to ninja out and then Anyway, did I answer your question? I know you're like, wow, he went way over there and then he brought it back. I mean,
absolutely.
So we're talking to the people that are thinking about leaving. Where else you going to go? And I know Will challenge somebody, look, if you leave here, you're going to buy another program. No, I'm not going to buy another program. But then what are you going to do? Get a job? There's 30 million people that are unemployed, possibly going to be more. We're not going to get the country back running as fast as we think we are. I mean, this is reality. So this is what I said. And I don't know, sometimes my advice in the group goes over like a lead balloon. I get it because I'm pretty blunt. And I'm not the center of attention. I mean, Will and Jason can get away with being blunt. I'm just some moron like in the group. So, but somebody said, hey, I'm trying to convince my buddy, and maybe they didn't use the word convincing, I'm paraphrasing. I'm trying to convince somebody to promote my deal. I said, well, that's the first problem. You're needy. So the fact you're needy and they don't think it's a good deal, well, what would they know?
One of my favorite sayings about need is desperation and need is like the worst deodorant or the worst BO that you can have, because it is a stench. It can be smelt. Like,
so he was desperate, and I think he, we are like radio stations or radios that pick up transmissions, and he was transmitting it. Maybe he didn't believe in it, so he was transmitting to his buddy and all I was saying was a mindset thing. And everybody that don't like mindset stuff is probably struggling with where they're at, because it all boils back down to mindset. I mean, if you say you don't have enough time, and nobody has more than 24 hours in a day. And there's people who are self-made billionaires, and there's people who are working a dead-end job, and they have the same 24 hours a day. So somebody has tapped into to make more use of their time. And what I think people are looking for is an internal motivator. They're looking for the push. The problem is you'll burn out and you can't push yourself. I think the people who truly achieve have a pull. They have something external to them that's bigger than them. Call it passion, call it purpose, call it whatever you want in alliteration. But people are looking for productivity. Productivity is trying to make yourself do stuff you don't want to do. And sometimes you have to. Listen, something Jason said the other day, just in a random webinar he did to us to help us, said he had programmed his brain to associate extreme pleasure with the sound of a keyboard.
Yeah, that's right.
I've literally started to find NLP keyboard sounds on YouTube. It's free. It's 10-hour video of somebody typing. And I'm going to listen to that when I'm really happy. Like when I'm talking to you, I should have had clicking sound because I'm happy talking to you. I'm not happy talking to anybody. I'm happy talking to myself. I'm a talker. But see, I hope that this is helping. And I hope it's helping you because you like interviewing people. And I'd like to do this again. I'd like to help people. I'm not going to monetize the group.
Let's definitely do this again.
Well, I got a different way of looking at this, but I have studied mindset to death. So so you asked me, and we'll answer the question again. What would make somebody leave here as opposed to stay? And I get paid no more money whether you leave or stay. So I'm just trying to say this because I want to help, not because I wish you well. But where are you going to go? For $2.99. Now, maybe that's easy for me to say. I didn't set the record. If we get to see a leaderboard, I won't be on it. But I got enough that I paid my program for about 2 years. Now, that don't mean I'm going to take my foot off the gas. I didn't get zero. But I paid no money for traffic. It breaks my heart if people paid money for traffic and got no sales. I did nothing. Matter of fact, I hadn't touched Kartra until the middle of the week, and I've got a lot of stuff going on. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm an investor. I got a lot of stuff going on. And I went midweek and went, holy cow, I'm going to let the thing go. I didn't start calling people to like Friday. When we went into cart open like Tuesday, Wednesday, I would have crushed it if I called 2 people. Somebody put there on their Facebook Live, got me no sales, and a guy emailed his list. Now, the good news is I had already been in business with him. We'd done him a favor. I knew he had an e-commerce list. I knew they were open to Amazon type of things, on and off, private label and wholesale. They were kind of an e-commerce group. It wasn't like, Alcoholics Anonymous, though that would have been okay. It was a list, and he didn't ask for any money. So you say, well, I didn't have access to that. Okay, I did, but don't hate me because I spent years of my life developing a relationship with a guy. Literally, I lost a year in a relationship with these group of people, and we're salvaging the relationship. We had one bad partner, right? It don't take but one to mess up the whole thing, and then everybody's got to scatter and reassemble, and that's what we're doing. So, I've had some ups and downs. I'm not going to act like everything I've done's worked out, but I've tried a lot of stuff. I do a lot of stuff. And I find out if you do stuff with passion. So if you're not excited about helping this, look, can I tell you the downside to the very thing that's the upside for most people in affiliate Triad, because I just watched the VSL, because I want to know, like Jason does, I want to know what I'm offering, right? Now, it's like they said in network marketing, you don't have to be an expert. You knew enough to sign up. You know enough to get somebody else signed up. I'm not trying to sign anybody up for anything, but I've studied marketing in every facet. And so I know enough that got me excited, but everybody's different. So I watched the VSL today, multitasking while I was sitting in another training class, and understanding that message. I'm like, one of the things is, well, you don't know how to write copy. And you don't want to do webinars, and you don't want to just do this. But what I've been trying to say in the group is I'm not worried about what the next offer is, because everybody's like, I only want to build a list specific to the next offer. I don't. I could give a rip what the next offer is. I want to build a list of people I want to attract, that I want to work with, that I can help. And so what I want to do is if I had to do TWF again, I would lead with me talking to my audience and then lead them to Will and Jason. I would set them up. Because a lot of people that in that list knew of me from a previous business. So they probably had some trust and affinity for me. And I didn't establish how much Will and Jason meant to me. All I needed to do was get a group of people to my webinar, to my Zoom call, and tell them my story. I gave them 4 and then 5 figures, and they made me 6 and then 7. And this is what I'll say to that. I forgot. I thought about this a little bit when I found out I didn't rehearse, because that wouldn't be as raw and uncut as this. But I thought about this. You give somebody 4 and 5 figures and make 6 and then a 7 and multiple 7. Ask your realtor to give you that option. Ask your broker to give you that option. Go find somebody else that you can hand 4 and 5 figures and turn around and make 6 or 7. No, I'm asking you, I'm begging you. Who? Warren Buffett stock tips? You won't play it like he did. You're not Warren Buffett. You won't get a stock tip. You won't get a stock broker. You won't get a realtor. You won't get, where are you going to go get that deal? I don't know. I'll speak to what I know. I don't know. There's some cool things going on out there. I've made money off of stuff that Ryan Dice and Roland Frazier have done in digital marketing. There's a lot of cool stuff out there. But all of it's way more than $299 a month. And I looked at this as if I got no sales. I was in a training program. I paid a lot more than $299 a month to get an engineering degree. And I don't regret going to college because I didn't have Rich Dad, Poor Dad changed my life, that book. Growing up, all I had was a poor dad. He's a great dad, but he was a poor dad. I had to go find my rich dads. I didn't have some rich friend dad, one dad that poured into me. I had to go find them. I mean, as weird as this may sound, I would put Will and Jason on the list of my rich dads.
Yeah.
And I don't think they'd be freaked out about some people there. I mean, rich dads don't have to be older than you. They can be younger than you. I'm pretty sure Jason's younger than me. A rapping monk.
Well, he just turned 37 or 38 or something. Like,
right. And I'm probably old enough to be his dad. No, I'm not that old, but I earned his gray hair. Earned it.
Listen, I've got like ping, 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 all these different conversations I want to have with you, but I'm going to wrap it up now.
Yeah, so we'll do a part 12. This will be a docu-series. What do they call it? This will be a mini-series.
Yes. Yeah, no, lots of stuff that's coming up.
Jodie's son and Steven's son show. That way maybe we can recruit it into Rapid Crush. I noticed I gave you top billing because, listen, Oprah became a multi-millionaire, possibly billionaire. I don't know how wealthy she is. Oprah became wealthy, never delivering her own content. She just interviewed people, not as awesome as me, but she interviewed people. So, you know, it was never the Oprah and whatever show. It's the Jodie show, and I'm just honored to be here. This is definitely not the Stephen and Jodie show. It's the Jodie show, and if I'm lucky, it's the Jodie and Stephen show. If I'm lucky, because I'm honored to be here.
Seriously. Well, let's do it again. All right.
I'm normally very bashful and quiet. It's your
I can absolutely tell
that have drawn me out and made my shirt disappear. This has been amazing. Hey, I want to copy this. I want to show all my friends, both of them.
That's like a whole new version of Raw and Real. It's like, let's get naked.
See, you ain't from around here. You don't say it right. Like I said in the group, it's pronounced naked. Naked sounds like it's just you're taking a shower by yourself. Naked implies you're naked and up to no good. See, you got to say it right. Naked, as you enunciated properly, is just, hey, you called me naked. But you catch me naked, there's probably somebody else there that's naked too, most supposed to be, if you're doing it right. I'm sorry, did I just offend? There's no grandmothers or children in here. I'm available for bar mitzvahs. And I do religious events, and I can be, well, no, I can never be, but I can't. Okay, whatever. I'll just stop talking about that.
Hasta luego, Stephen.
Whatever that meant, right back at you.
Next time. Bye-bye.
All right, stop recording and then tell me bye.